Hey folks, it's Brian with another campaign diary session review for RQG. We got to play last night. Um, and we've introduced a new player, a fellow that I met at Gen Con 2 or 3 years ago now. Um, he does Pendragon stuff for Chaosium. But he is looking to join a game, and one of my players had to bow out because it was conflicting with his work schedule. So we plugged him in, and he's finally joining the party. So the group, and the live plays in the description if you're into that kind of thing. I listen to live plays for some other games, and no, I don't have an hour or three, 2, 3 to just have stuff going on. So I listen to them at double speed. But I also listen to audiobooks at double speed, so I'm used to that kind of tone. Anyway, so we went over, the party, recapping kind of what's going on. They're going through all the stuff they've captured here in Marsh Edge from the sunken fortress, and the clan chieftain offers this guy to give them, he has got a cart. He's going to Clearwine. So go to Clearwine, get some Clearwine before dark season comes, and bring it back, kind of thing, right? So he's on a mission for the clan, and provides a benefit for the party because they've got a bunch of armor and stuff like that just can't be just carrying around. So that's all set up. There's some discussion about actual what things are, because a lot of this stuff have spirit magic matrices in them. Armor with protection matrices. The pike's got a blade sharp matrice. One of the swords has blade sharp 2 and 2 points of true sword in it, but those points have been used. I think that's actually the most powerful magic item they came across. Plus, they were the sandals and some rings, shimmer 2, mobility, that kind of stuff, right? The matrices on, so you can put them on, and you've got the spell, so you know what it is. So the sandals didn't do that. It's different. It's kind of one of those unique or special magic item things from, I believe it's Armor and Weapons. It's got a little section of magic items in it. Or a recent publication anyway. So I've been compiling all these RuneQuest, RQG type magic items from all the publications, just get a feel for what everybody else thinks magic items in RuneQuest like, or Glorantha are like. So I had previously rolled. Okay, it's going to take 3 days for them to get from Marsh Edge to Clearwine. We're going to stop at a town, a village in between Quackford and the dog village. Oh, look at my map. Sorry, shaking things again. And then again at the village in Anoring, the Anoring clan, before they get to Clearwine, kind of thing, right? So, and with the armor and weapons book, they've got costs for food and lodging and stuff like that. So I just kind of swag. Okay, depending on how well you want to eat and sleep, it's going to cost you between 1 and 3 lakhs for overnight, kind of thing, at both places. Excuse me. And I did roll 2 encounters. First encounter was herders. Okay, no problem. Yeah, there's herders out there. The second was a grizzly bear. So I rolled up the grizzly bear, and what are the odds of a grizzly bear actually attacking somebody? Maybe it was a mama bear between cubs, kind of thing, or just defend his territory. So I made a reaction roll. It was a 5 out of 6. So okay, it's fairly friendly. It's just defending territory. So a couple of players made some listen rolls. They turn. They can see the bear. let everybody else know. And at that point, the bear stands up, out of my land, kind of stuff. Subutai makes a shot at it, got it in the head, but only did 2 points of damage, and it stops 4. So, and then other people get down, banging shields, making noise, that kind of thing. The cart driver takes off. And so then the party starts backing up. The bear takes a couple of steps forward and do that for a while, and then he just stops. Kind of a, sometimes random encounters just add flavor. They don't really have any value. I mean, could they have attacked the grizzly bear? Yeah, bear could have probably hurt somebody. But did they really need to, kind of stuff? And would the bear really attack? And that kind of stuff. It's got to make some sense. So make it the clear wine. They kind of divvy up stuff. Actually, they did that more in Marsh Edge. There's a shield. It's got Parry 2 matrix in it. And all that kind of stuff. And then the next day, Arestra wants to report back to Queen Laika, since the request to go to Marsh Edge came through her. She feels it needs to go back to her. So she grabs Engrelar, since he's the noble, he's the voice of the party, and kind of, hey, everybody, we should go do this other thing. They go up there. She wasn't expecting them, so they're told to come back on God's Day. So that gives them 3-4 days in town to do stuff. They do have an Orlanthe and Odela seasonal holy day. So they go and do that. So we're going through getting room points back. Arestra is able to do associated minor holy days with Arnalda, but it's at the temple. So she's able to get her room points back over the next couple of weeks. Everybody else got their room points back through association with either Odela or Orlanth. But while that's going on, they run into the new player, Jakiska? Something like that. Who's a chariot driver. He is from Nochet, but he's up here visiting, cousins. He was actually here for the freeing of Sartar, so he's had this pull. Things are happening up here, and so he's visiting his cousins to see if he can't get involved with doing something. And turns out that he and Arestra have been in mini battles together, and everybody here has been in. I think it was Siege of Nochet where everybody was involved. And so there's, so they've seen him before, they know him, some connection there, right? And so while during the session, there wasn't the whole, well, there's some introduction, talking back and forth. Hey, you remember this, remember that? Well, yeah, I did this and you did that kind of stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of, hey, we're going to go do this, come join us kind of stuff, because the party hasn't gotten to that point yet. Okay, to go see Queen Laika. Engrelar, excuse me, goes through a little, we did this, we did that, we saw this happen, this, that, and the other. A couple things he mentioned should have caught the attention of people in the court, but I rolled and they weren't paying that much of attention. And then Queen Laika says thank you and dismisses them. I have a planned encounter that I rolled randomly to see when it would occur. I just automatically started at the beginning of dark season, and maybe I should have started once the party got back to Clearwine, which means it may actually occur during Earth season instead of dark season. That may push things forward a bit. But anyway, get to the end of the season, we do end of season phase, and there's a whole lot of that in the description, and we're going step by step by step. Now I'm trying to get the players to get a feel for actual progression. And if you're only doing 3% a season, that's not a whole lot. And that's only if you make your rolls, right? So okay, everybody make your check mark rolls, and then I allow the 4. Look at why is it 4? Cult and occupation skill rolls after that. So you could double dip. A warrior using his sword skill gets a check mark, so he gets to roll to increase his sword skill for the experience check. But then he can also use his sword skill for the 4, the occupation skill, to try and get another check increase kind of thing. I'm trying to see if I can't do this. Another thing I've been thinking about in the game I play in, which is an RQ3 game, the GM allows us, you get a check mark on successes, right? But if you get a critical success afterwards, you can get another check mark. So you can get 2 or 3 check marks out of an adventure. And I'm contemplating applying that. I'm not sure about that. I want the players, that also decreases the whole I attack with my axe, I attack with my sword, attack with my spear kind of stuff, right? Sword, sword, sword until I can get maybe a couple crits out, and so I get 3 check marks, that kind of deal. And Wes is my character in this other game. When he does, normally he just does the 3%, right? 3%, 3%. But if he's got 2 check marks, if he makes both of them, he's actually going to roll the dice, because the odds of getting a 7, which is more than 3 and 3, go up, right? So that's my power gaming mentality. Okay, so then we do the 4 checks for occupation cult, and then we do the training and research, and then we do the stat training or power game rolls, and then the stat training and research rolls. And I had allowed them to do research and training on skills. And then as we were doing, because everybody's researching various stats, right? Dex, strength, or something, over time. So eventually they can increase those characteristics. Now we'll never get like RQ2 and 3 where everybody's, all experienced adventurers got 21 dexterities. But there's an option there. But there is a paragraph in the characteristic training and research where it says, if you're doing research or training on a characteristic, you cannot do research or training in a skill. So it's like you have so much time to do research, so much time to do training. It's either a skill or it's a stat. This time I allowed them to do both, but since it specifically states otherwise, I may pull back on that. I'm just not sure just yet. And that was the end of season phase. Oh, Arestra did go to the temple in the upper city at Clearwine, which is a Lightbringer's temple, to buy training in repair. And Issaris is part of the whole thing. In fact, there's a market right in front of the temple. So yeah, it's available. Pay for it, go for it. But there was a question, especially when we start doing worship rolls for room point increases on how big is that temple? Is it a major? We know the Earth Temple is a major temple, and Clearwine is a tribal capital, but I don't know. If you look at it, it doesn't look that big. But who's to say? But I put it in the middle of the road, so they got a bonus out of that. Something I thought about afterwards is, if it's a minor other holy day, you get that plus 10, right? So what if it's not a holy day? Can you make rolls then? I'm starting to think maybe you can. But then who's doing the worship? You got to have priests. In my interpretation, you need to have a priest running a worship ceremony in order to have a worship ceremony. Initiates can't just go worship on their own, can they? I'm thinking not, though. You need to have that ecclesiastical authority to do what it does, I think. So we get all done with that, and Bob, our new player, did the whole end of season phase with the party together. And then I asked, okay, so what are you guys planning? What are you thinking? Where can you go so I can plan ahead for what we're going to do next? And they had no idea. They're starting to think about, well, there was some mention, well, maybe we can track down the priest who teleported out because he's a bad guy. Oh, because when they actually cleaned out the temple, they found a secret door in the priest's quarters that led to a secret room that had all kinds of serpent worship stuff and a girl in a cage who had recently expired. Yeah, so they think he's a bad guy, although he was actually. And then they talked to the priestess about this. It's the fact that he was taken and then possessed after the priestess was. She took him down there, and but she noticed that something happened when he got possessed. He got cracked in the head. He started going extreme, that kind of thing. So maybe that kind of explains what happened with this guy. So there's thinking, well, maybe we hunt him down because he's a bad guy. And then there's, well, what about the baboons? But we have no clue of where they came from or what they were doing. Do want to say that they may have been mentioned from somebody about the baboons coming from the north. But I don't recall. I could go back and check my other videos to see if I did mention that. But then there's also, maybe we can go check on the two Dark Trolls who went to Runegate to see what's going on with them, because they went to Runegate to try and find the clan chieftain who was in a excuse me, underground cell. And so they got those kinds of things, and then I started thinking, okay, they have not been to Runegate yet, so if they do go to Runegate, I could run darkness at Runegate, and I've actually got some tie-ins from some stuff going in there, so maybe that's what we'll do. And this encounter I have planned that may now actually occur during Earth season ties into Runegate as well. So maybe that's the plan. Head into Runegate. Happy gaming.